What's up, everyone? I am Toka Tyler, and today I'm going to be talking Power Rangers Beast Morphers Episode 3, End of the Road. This was a pretty good episode, I think. It was definitely a Zoey-focused one, which is good, because, she's my favorite of the three characters so far. As far as characters, I just like her attitude about things. She's really cool. Anyway, the plot of the episode was easy to follow, and we actually had good character moments for both sides, both the Rangers, and we got to know a little bit more about Roxy's avatar and everything, so it's really cool. I'm still on board with this series so far and what Hasbro has done with Power Rangers. Anyway, let's get into the episode. The episode opens up to Nate in the lab showing Zoey the Beast X cannon, the combination of their Beast X saber or Beast X sword, the sword and the blaster weapons basically combined, which is really cool because the weapons in Go Busters had the same versatility, so having it in this show is really good to have, so I like it. Plus, it's a really cool looking weapon. Zoey then asks Nate about a project she asked him to make for her, the X-Bikes. Zoey designed these bikes that are powered by Morphex energy, which is something she actually mentions in the first episode when she's talking with Mayor Daniels, so it's really cool that we're keeping with this. There's actual continuity to these characters, which is really, really cool. And the bikes look pretty cool as well. I assume the Morphex goes through some sort of engine on the bike to make it go faster somehow, but don't try to think about it too much. So anyway, Zoey is in a bit of a hurry, it seems, to get down to this the forest where Mayor Daniels is about to make a road through a local forest area, maybe a park, to basically cut down on the traffic problem. So he's going to build a road to cut down on the traffic issues of their city. Zoey jumps in the way of a bulldozer to rescue a small lizard. When she does this, the reporter lady covering the story rushes over in terror, and this is actually a really good moment because we find out the news reporter from the last couple of episodes is actually Zoey's mom, and I didn't expect that. It was really cool that we got another parent in the show. We have Devin and his dad, the mayor, Ravi and his mom, the commander, and now we got Zoey's mom in the story as well. So I really like the family stuff. It's really nice to have in the show at this point. It's nice. So Zoey tells Mayor Daniels not to cut down the forest because there are so many animals living there and they won't have a home anymore if he does this. So Zoey is an environmentalist. She cares about nature and animals, which is another side to her character that we haven't really seen yet, and definitely a positive trait to have for sure, because this is a kids show, and so it's nice to show them about clean energy and taking care of the environment and everything, so it's nice. So we are dealing with clean energy sources such as Morphex, so these kinds of topics are nice to see represented, definitely. So to persuade the mayor to not go through with the road project, she shows him her X-Bike and makes a deal with him. She has 1 week to get people using her X-Bikes to cut down on traffic all around the city, or else the road has to be built. So the Rangers all try to get people interested in the bikes, and it doesn't go over well, until Ben and Betty roll in with their tandem X-Bike, so it can fit 2 people on 1 bike kind of thing. For some reason, people thought that was cool. I, for one, don't like tandem bicycles. I just think it's cooler to have your own bike and have friends who have bikes too, so you can all go riding. So a tandem bike doesn't look cool to me, but apparently people thought it was cool, so I don't know. Back in the cyber dimension, Roxy talks about the news of the X-Bikes all around the city, and that they are powered by Morphex. Blaze sees this as the Morphex being vulnerable and a great opportunity to take more energy. Blaze shows up at one of the bike spots near the Rangers and creates the Needletron monster. Needletron was made from a tire pump, which I thought was a good idea because now Blaze has a way of extracting the Morphex using a specific Robotron's ability, so it was really smart on his part. So with people not liking the bikes already, they are also being attacked by a monster that is targeting the bikes for their energy sources, so not a good day to be riding an X-Bike at all. Needletron does this thing where he shoots Ben and Betty's bike, and it sends them flying into the harbor. It's a little moment. Not really the best moment, but they're in the episode. So I guess that was the point of it. The Rangers face off against Blaze and the Robotron, and we get the first cutaway morphing scene. It's pretty cool. It's still the same tornado energy stuff, but I love it. And with the animal faces coming out of the tornadoes, I still love that. I think it's really good. And then, of course, the glasses turning into their visors. It's really cool. As the fight goes on, Devin and Ravi are beaten by Needletron, and just before Needletron is about to finish Zoey, she jumps into the air and then transports the Beast X blaster to combine it with her sword, using Nate's new Beast X cannon to destroy Needletron. And after the explosion, the only piece left of Needletron is his arm, the extracting weapon on his arm. Blaze grabs it because it still has Morphex energy inside it and teleports out of there. Blaze and Scrozzle argue about who's to blame for all the failures and everything, because Scrozzle's trying to cover his butt from Evox. But Roxy calms Blaze because she came up with a plan to get more Morphex energy using the needle arm. So, back with the Rangers, Zoey begs Mayor Daniels to give her more time because of the attack. But he says a deal's a deal. Zoey's bikes have to be, used by a lot of people. But Zoey's not afraid of big problems. She solves big problems, and that's her personal catchphrase. I still love it. That's why she's my favorite character of the Rangers so far. Anyway, the Rangers, along with Nate, decide to catch all the animals in the forest in case the road project is going to start again. In this scene, we see Zoey and Nate talking about how good it is to have friends who have your back, and Nate actually says something about how that's what he thinks having a family is like, and we find out Nate doesn't actually get to see his parents that often. He goes on to tell us about his parents and how they work overseas, so he doesn't really see them often. So Nate isn't as close with his parents like the Rangers are, so it's a really interesting family moment. So not everyone is close with their family, and I like that they represented that. It's sad for Nate, obviously, but it's different than the usual. Oh yeah, I'm really close to my parents too, just like these other three characters. But he says the Rangers are like family to him too, so it's a really nice moment. I really like Nate. He's starting to be one of my favorites. He's a really good guy. Anyway, Nate reminds Zoey that people thought Ben and Betty's bike was cool, and that if they make the X bikes cooler, they should be more appealing to people. So the Rangers they come up with ideas like cup holders for the bikes and everything, but the Rangers are alerted to Blaze stealing more Morphex energy from some of the bikes. Blaze's key has no more energy, so he takes one of the bikes to get away from the Rangers. They follow him on the X bikes, and we get a lot of cool tricks. A lot of flips in the air, a lot of bike riding. It's really cool to see the Ranger suits on these bikes. Zoey's mom is covering the traffic until she sees the Rangers in pursuit on the X bikes, and this will become important later on. So she's recording the Rangers chasing Blaze on their bikes, and it's really awesome. The Rangers follow Blaze to a warehouse, but are ambushed by Roxy. It turns out Blaze was actually the distraction, while Roxy and the Tronics were draining other X-Bikes around the city, so they have barrels and barrels of Morphex energy. Roxy threatens to blow up the barrels of Morphex if the Rangers make a move. So, to jump into action, make sure nothing explodes, Devin speed kicks Roxy away while Zoey and Ravi launch Blaze into a wall, and that was just a really cool show of their powers. I really liked it, especially Ravi just knocking Blaze right into the wall with just one hit, just boom. It was really, really cool. Blaze takes some of the Morphex when he leaves, and Roxy has to deal with the Rangers. With enough Morphex energy now that Blaze took, Scrozzle can power a beta model Gigadrone. So there's different types of Gigadrones, just like in Go Busters as well. There's different types of the giant robots. Anyway, the Gigadrone into Needle Drone. So he basically transforms it into Needletron, but now it's Needle Drone. So I kind of found out those terms while learning about this episode. Anyway, then to teleport it into the city as usual to go after a Morphex tower. Ravi goes out on in his Wheeler Zord, his big truck, to intercept the Gigadrone. We also get to see the gorilla mode for the first time, which is really fun. And oh my god, the amount of banana puns they made in this scene, it was just ridiculous, but I loved it. And the fact that his missiles from his Zord have banana casings is hilarious. It's just so awesome. And the Gigadrone actually slips on the peels too. It's really good moment. I liked it. The fight goes on, and Ravi cannot hold back the Gigadrone for long. So Devin leaves Zoey to fight Roxy. So now it's New Yellow versus Old Yellow. Roxy accidentally blows up the rest of the Morphex barrels before teleporting away. She shoots the Morphex on Zoe's bike, but then Zoey throws it at Roxy and she says, "You missed." And Zoe's like, "No, I didn't." And then it just blows up everything. So it was really cool. Also, I just like the line Zoey said after the fight. It was just a really fun one. She said, "Jax, I really need a carrot." And she was just lying on the floor, tired. I just love that. I don't know why. This whole carrot thing is actually starting to be really fun. So I just really like that for some reason. So anyway, Devin shows up in his Racer Zord to go into battle mode and defeat the Gigadrone. So I love that red Zord. It's so awesome. With the Gigadrone defeated, Zoey tries to find the mayor until he shows up on an X-Bike. So they're shown the footage of the Rangers doing cool tricks and how cool the X-Bikes are and why people want them now because the Rangers use them. So it's really awesome. Zoey's mom rocks for doing that because she recorded all that and showed it to people. Also, Zoey says, "Thanks, Rangers," in front of her mom because only the commander knows their identities. The mayor and Zoey's mom don't actually know their kids are Rangers yet, so it's still kind of interesting about the whole identity thing. So I hope they get to learn that in the future, but it kind of makes sense for the whole thing. Then we get, at the end, Ben and Betty showing their new X-Bike unicycles. I like them better in episode 2. I'm telling you right now, Ben and Betty are kind of slipping as far as comedy. I don't know why they had to have this scene. It was silly, but I didn't really like it. I don't know. I hope they do better in the next episode because I don't want to hate Ben and Betty. I really don't. I will say they are better than Victor and Monty, for sure. So anyway, that pretty much wraps up episode 3, and yet again, I enjoyed another episode of Beast Morphers. Now, I know this is only the 3rd episode, but if I had to pick a favorite so far, it would be episode 2, because we had the first look at the Zords, Ben and Betty actually were helpful, and the morph sequence from episode 2. I loved it. So good. That's where my love of it started, and it's amazing. So anyway, this episode had a great plot, and they executed it perfectly, except for Ben and Betty, of course, but I don't know why I'm hating on them a lot. Their part in the episode was my only complaint. They weren't bad, they just weren't that good compared to episode 1 and episode 2. I wanted more help than comedy, and that's not how you do comedy in this episode, but they just made a tandem X-Bike and get launched into the harbor. Not really anything else for them in the episode. That's literally all they do is just them on the bike. And I don't know. The Gorilla Zord scene was a lot more funny than Ben and Betty, who are supposed to be the comedic relief or the comedy characters in the show. So that was my complaint about it. But that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think about the episode and which one is your favorite so far in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell to be notified of future videos. And may the power protect you.